Welcome everyone to the Town of Franklin Board of Aldermen meeting for September the 6th, 2011. Glad you all could be with us. Let's take care of a couple of matters before we go into a public hearing. We had a meeting August 1st. It's been a while. Janet banked out some minutes and got them to us in our agenda package. Any motions from the board?
Motion to be approved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. We got a proclamation to celebrate Constitution Week. Judith Hughes, issues. Just come forward, please, right there. Let's see where it is. The Battle of Sugartown Chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution respectfully request that we issue a proclamation affirming the celebration of Constitution Week from September 17th through the 23rd, 2011 in the town of Franklin. And there's a proclamation, Constitution Week 2011, whereas September 17, 2011 marks the 224th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. Whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and this memorable anniversary to the patriotic celebration which we will commemorate the occasion. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of the proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designated September 17, 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore it is proclaimed by the Mayor of Franklin, North Carolina, that September 17th through 23rd, 2011 is hereby designated as Constitution Week, and all citizens are encouraged to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by diligently protecting the freedom guaranteed to us through this guarding of our liberties, remembering lost rights may never be regained. In witness whereof I have here unto set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Franklin to be affixed on this 6th day of September 2011. Is there a motion from the board that I sign this proclamation? Second. All in favor? Janet, got something besides the copy over here?
Yes, sir. They have it.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay.
Mayor Collins and members of the Board of Aldermen, as regent of the Battle of Sugartown Chapter of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, I'd like to express our chapter's sincere appreciation for your enthusiastic response and for the board's support in signing this proclamation.
We're welcome.
We thank you very much.
Now, don't you come here and get behind me. I want to take a picture. You look like Terry Nostra.
She's my daughter.
How about that? Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
All right.
And to my left is Carmen Jessup. She's the vice regent, and Sheila Porter-Kelly, who just going back to her seat, who's in charge of the celebration that you'll be hearing about and seeing throughout the town. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Pass it. Janet needs to sign this, Billy. You'll pass that down.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, we got time for one more here. Don Capaforte, you're here for a lot of reasons tonight, probably. Got your hand out every which way. Proclamation to declare October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Not a week, but a month, right? Bonnie Peg's with them?
Yes, sir.
Let's see what we got. You got me something to sign? Please. Let's y'all go ahead and come on and get behind me now while I read it. The proclamation, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. These folks are from the hospital, in case you're wondering. Whereas October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the town of Franklin joins a national initiative to fight breast cancer on the local front with energy, devotion, and compassion. Whereas because the battle with breast cancer is ongoing, we urge all women to practice monthly self-exams and women over the age of 40 to have yearly mammogram, because screening and early detection are essential to our fight against breast cancer. Whereas there has been significant progress in the fight against breast cancer, and remain firm in the commitment to eradicate breast cancer deaths in Macon County by the year 2016. And whereas the town of Franklin salutes and congratulates breast cancer survivors who have triumphed over this devastating disease, their courage and spirits are inspirations to us. Now therefore, I, Joe Collins, Mayor of the town of Franklin, do hereby proclaim October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month and urge all citizens to join in the fight to promote breast health awareness and find a cure for breast cancer. In official recognition, hereby I fix my signature this the 6th day of September, once we get that corrected, of 2011. In a motion, and I sign such proclamation.
Make a motion to sign. Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. You want me to correct that, y'all want to, huh? Okay. I'll sign another letter to you too. All right. You're welcome. All right. 7:05, we're close enough. We've got a public hearing for the rezoning request for tropical investment. Mr. Chuck Holland. Just a show of hands, I'm just curious, who's here basically for this public hearing? Raise your hand. Chuck's here. All right, Connie's here. Chuck, stand up. Give us a few minutes. Chuck Holland, tell us what you want. Just stand over there next to the podium.
Before we start, I make some packets. I don't have anybody here, or the chair maybe 2 and I meet a guy. I'll discuss it as I go along.
We've been briefed on it, Chuck, so just give us the highlights, please.
Well, the highlights is a property at 1769 Mercury Road. We own since 2002 rather. That had a 3-bedroom home on it, plus later we put a small mobile home. This home burned down 2 years ago, and it was never been determined on what caused it while we was in Florida. So we demolition the home, and last October I went to see Jack over at the code enforcement and asked him about putting a double-wide mobile home up there, no problem. So we go back to Florida, come back in May, I go buy a mobile home down, nice mobile home down in Cali, and I moved for $3,500 to move it. In the meantime, I go to the county with an application for a permit for double-wide. 2 days later, I get a call from Bobby Bishop saying, you got to go to the town of Franklin. I asked him question why. Well, it's been an EPA changeover as of January of this year. Well, I was shocked at that, of course, because we've owned the property since '02, and we had this approval, verbally approval by the county. The problem I have is that I've had the rug judge had to pull out Monday. I did not get notification. I understand that there was a letter sent out to property owners. My letters get to me if they were sent to my Florida address or my Franklin address. I did not receive any letter notifying me there's any change. It wouldn't have mattered if there'd been a change, but this is a residential lot. It's not appropriate for a commercial. And I'd like to go over the picture with you momentarily here and explain to you why. It's a hillside. It's always been used as a residential. We own the property on the road, of course. We also own the property across the road, which my wife's mother and dad built the home 53 years ago, and I also had a repair shop a few years ago, which is still there. We rent out to a welding shop. This we're requesting this, whatever it has to be done to get this rezoned, special request, special grant, whatever, to put the double wide back on there, which gives us our $900 a month income we had before the fire. We collected no insurance on the fire. It's been undetermined, still under investigation. We had some problems with neighbors. There's some conflict there, possibility. And I'm here to request to get this double wide. We have the double wide already there because in the moving process when I filed for permit. If you'd be kind enough to look at the permit pictures I have submitted to you, the first picture there, number 1 and 2, is taken from 064. You can see I have septic material there. I got the septic tank set in the ground. The drain line material is laying waiting to go in, put it on hold after they had this problem. You see a double wide sitting there, it's not put together, we have 4 foot in between. It's just covered up until we get something resolved on this matter. You see the next picture over 3 and 4, there's I'm using that as where I have the equipment sitting, there's a barrier there, wall, a bank which is 15 feet high, kind of separates the 2 properties, so to speak. I'll go this right briefly, right fastly. Number 5, that is the entrance coming up from 64 to this property where the mobile home is sitting right now. That is the legal access, and it's shared driveway by the neighbor's property. And if you want to go to number 8, you see the survey. It's just 2 lots on the survey. You see that I've got it marked there where it says subject property, showing the driveway coming into this property. And number on page 9 of this package, you see where I pulled a building permit for this unit to be put on there. Just the application was not approved. Number 10 was a picture of the house that was destroyed by fire. And that's what we try to do, is get something in place that will give us the income. We're 74 years old. My wife had cancer. I took 45 sessions of chemo. We don't need help. We want to get this thing resolved. We need the income from this property. I've been in real estate for 40 years in Florida. We sold all our property out. We are stable here in North Carolina. I'm from here originally. I tell people they kicked me out of town when I was 18 to find a job because there are no jobs here. So I ended up in Florida in real estate. I've gone through zoning sessions many times there in the building business. I never had the rug jerked out from under, so to speak, here. But last year I could put a double one. While I'm gone overnight, the rug gets pulled out, and I cannot do this any longer. I'm requesting this board give us permission to complete the project that we have more pressure.
All right, Chuck, good presentation, sir. The board, John, look at this.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have no doubt in my mind that this is a case, a third case of spot zoning, if it were to be, the petition to be accepted and passed. That in North Carolina, of course, does not make it de facto illegal, although it does in some states. However, once you are satisfied that it is a spot zoning, you have to advance a clear justification to accept it. And I really don't know what that would be in this case. Generally, unless you can show that, unless the board can find that the rezoning would go along with the sort of a general scheme of use in the area, would be of some benefit to any owners other than the petitioner, I have a hard time seeing what the
Chuck, are you familiar with the term spot zone?
I am somewhat. I feel like there's a conflict of interest here somewhat also. We have one of your town employees, which is a town planner, that owns property next to me, and it was zoned commercial way beyond his property, but that should have been a residential property. So I feel like there's a conflict of interest here.
He's referring to Mr. Erdman. I'm satisfied he recused himself totally from this process.
Also may be a conflict of interest too. At one time, Mr. Hennon and Judge Downs was my attorney, so that's been some years ago. So now we're conflict perhaps too. But just throw that in for what it might be worth to the board.
I know that Ms. Glugman is here to speak in opposition. But prior to that, does the board have some questions of Mr. Henning and Mr. Holland among themselves as to how to handle this at this time? Is there, other than Connie, will Connie come on up? We'll give you a few minutes to be heard, please.
I don't really need to speak. I wrote a letter. I believe you all received a copy of it. I am just here to see how this rezoning matter proceeds. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anybody else to be heard, pro or con, in the public hearing? I got a little ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Didn't do one last month. Anyone else to be heard, pro or con, on the public hearing? If not, then I'll declare the public hearing closed and then us back into open session so that the board can more formally discuss the request that's being made. But have a seat, Mr. Harrington, now we may ask some more questions of you. We've heard Mr. Higgins' suggestion that this is spot zoning and that he believes it would take a, well, you heard his statements as well as I did. I don't want to have to paraphrase.
I just not what's going on. I think, well, I went out there and looked at the property. If I looked at the right property, I don't know if I can or not, but it was not taken too well on either side.
But is your issue maintenance or is it spot zoning?
I think both maintenance and spot zoning.
I'm not in favor of spot zoning in that area.
For about 2 years, we went through a long process with people from ETJ, county, town, and carefully went over those things to protect the commercial corridors, especially that close in the town. And it doesn't fit in with our present UDO, and so I'm not in favor of it.
Let me ask you a question. Did I misread this, or did the planning board not approve this request? The planning board did recommend rezoning. They recommended rezoning. They're pretty familiar with the situation. I take it they did not explore the aspects of spot zoning that were present in this particular case. I think we've got almost an identical situation coming up later tonight along this same line.
Who was that? Was it someone, were you at the planning board meeting? Was the issue of spot zoning was addressed?
It never really got addressed, and they didn't really seem to discuss that. They did discuss buffering, but they didn't really discuss that any further.
Carol, Billy, anything you got to say?
If it's, our council says it's spot zoning, I feel like we're on the side.
They said that what they, they didn't really go into the details of it, but what they would recommend was that he would buffer his property up into his adjoining neighbor's property, because it's 50. That was part of the recommendation as well.
Excuse me, I'm a member of the planning board, and I thought we voted to not allow it,
You remember
to
something?
not recommend it.
No, and it reflects in the minutes from the planning board. I know what Janet discussing, but I know it reflects in the minutes that they did the ultimate say so. The final vote was for approval.
For this one. not
For
the
this
second
one. Now there's the separate one.
Oh, okay.
The second one, you guys voted to deny.
Yes,
This one, they voted to recommend.
recommend approval.
But of course, this board is not constrained by that recommendation, and I think that if you did approve this petition, it would be extremely open to challenge by any neighboring property owner in there would be successful. Because it's 100%, fits the definition of spot zoning, and I don't know, unless I'm missing something, I don't see what kind of justification you can find for it. I mean, it is a small piece of property under single ownership. It's surrounded by a different zone than it would be. It would be an island of R2 in the middle of C1. I think it is the definition of unlawful spot zoning if you pass it.
Further discussion? Motion? Bill?
One other question, is, because we have a letter of protest in here from Connie Gruden, that does invoke the 3/4
Yes, sir,
rule?
it does. If you're voting on a motion to accept the petition and amend the zoning map, it will require a 3/4 vote, which is 5 out of 6.
Further discussion? Motion?
I make a motion this request be denied.
I second it.
Any further discussion after the motion and the second? All in favor, raise your hands. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Public session. Summer, the sheet.
Before we go any further, we may want to go ahead and, we need to schedule to set a public hearing for Mr. Holland's special use permit application.
You too?
This is totally separate matter?
Yes, separate matter.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, public special use application for,
Just to set a public hearing for, he has another one coming down the line, it's a special use permit application, and all you guys need to do is set a public hearing.
is that just something that missed the agenda,
It
Sarah?
is.
It's combined with what
Yeah.
we just got voted on.
Well, then let's combine.
Yep.
Motion to have public hearing October meeting. Somebody want to make that motion? This doesn't go to the planning board first?
It's already been.
It's just it's a separate piece of property, completely different.
So,
Completely different.
John or Summer, give me a good model motion that somebody can say that's there.
We set a public hearing on the special use, application, Hot Tropical Investments for 7:05 p.m. on October 3rd.
So much.
Billy makes that motion.
Whatever you say.
One Jennifer.
I'll second that.
Bill in a second, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, Summer, does that clean that up?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Persons to be heard representing Mountain Mediation, Carol, how's your last name?
DeCercio, that's the nonprofit.
What?
Come on.
Right. Just tell us what you want.
Nonprofit application.
Unfortunately, my director, Lorraine Johnson, she's out of town, so she sent me to represent. So the application was sent for funding, and they're requesting $1,000. I have just a little something to read.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Mountain Mediation Services previously received $45,000 to provide mediation in criminal district courts in the 7 counties. And that pass-through funding has been cut and is being replaced by court fees collected per mediation, and approximately $8,000 to $10,000 for all the 7 counties. Even with volunteer mediators, it is difficult to provide services for that without additional assistance from local municipalities. You know, Lorraine is supposed to be sending more information about it. I only have so much that.
How many is involved in Mountain Mediation?
Sorry?
How many mediators, or how many
We
folks
have
are?
7 counties, so.
A lot.
Mhm.
Okay. And in Macon County itself,
Okay. Well, I know that approximately, there's over 1,000 people that use mediation services. 90% of all mediated cases, they do reach agreement. So, I just have percents here, that 88% of clients reported decrease in anger or frustration with the situation at the end of the mediation session. We also do the bullying prevention, truancy, Medicaid.
Okay, you stayed pretty busy though.
Could you tell me the percentage, or you probably don't know, if that would be the town of Franklin, or is it pretty much this county?
Probably in the information that Lorraine is going to send to you, and probably that will all be in there. I just came tonight, to represent each of these towns.
Well, you're doing fine, John, you're doing fine. Any further questions? We're not gonna say yea or nay right now.
Oh, I know.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Karen Wallace, the library. You probably know your speech by now.
I certainly welcome this opportunity to plead my case yet again. I am here to ask for the nonprofit funding application funding for the Reading Rover bookmobile that the library provides in the town of Franklin. We did receive money from the town of Franklin last year that we certainly appreciate to run those services. From our grant application, read just a couple of things. The town of Franklin offers educational opportunities for all ages, preschool through retirement. You have a nice education segment in your video section on your website in which you address your mission of providing educational opportunities for all people in Franklin. Your educational mission is to challenge students and to help them excel. And the library hopes to help the town accomplish this mission by providing excellent service and convenient access to meet the educational needs of preschool children and their caregivers with the Reading Rover bookmobile. The Reading Rover is supported by funding from the Region A Partnership for Children, which helps provide money for Smart Start activities, from the local libraries and from private grants and donations. In order to maintain the program, we are seeking funds from the communities served by the program. These funds will be used to help staff and operate the vehicle. The goals for our project include developing pre-literacy skills in young children through storytime programs. We encourage a positive relationship with books, reading, and the library. We hope to strengthen small motor skills in children by the use of storytime, songs, and finger plays. We provide caregivers a wide variety of age-appropriate library materials which they can borrow for their classroom, curriculum support, and recreational reading to children. We train parents and caregivers on how to use library resources and develop pre-literacy skills at home and in the classroom. We demonstrate to caregivers and parents how to integrate library materials into all areas of learning, such as math and science, as well as language arts. There was a statement that we were asked to include as part of the application about whether or not this was a one-time or recurring basis request for funding. And this funding request is indeed a recurring request. The project will go on forever, we hope. The library joins the town of Franklin in its efforts to continue to offer educational opportunities to its residents, and the need for funding for those opportunities will continue on an ongoing basis. We saw last year, as part of our Reading Rover services in the town of Franklin, we serve 5 centers, child care centers. We see 29 different classrooms in those centers. We had a total attendance of 2,445 adults and children at the programs and workshops that we provided in the town of Franklin. We circulated almost 14,000 library materials, books, magazines, puppets, music, all kinds of materials to the people using the Reading Rover. When we asked people how much does the Reading Rover service help in the development of early literacy skills, 100% of people asked that it was extremely helpful in helping them with pre-literacy skill development. They said they'd be lost without the Reading Rover. They depend on it greatly. Children love the new books, and the Reading Rover helps maintain a center of excellence in the area of literacy. we certainly hope that you will consider granting our request for ongoing funds to provide Reading Rover services to the people in Franklin.
Thanks, Karen.
Be happy to answer any questions you might. Thank you.
Don, Cabell Day, come back up, at least part of the way. Angel Medical Center.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Angel Medical Center respectfully is requesting assistance to fund our outpatient medicine renovation department. We see approximately 18,000 patients per year through our outpatient medicine. Our outpatient medicine department provides chemotherapy, IVs, wound therapy, ports, PICC lines, many various sundry services through our outpatient department. Services that can be done on an outpatient basis to prevent patients from having to be admitted to the hospital. That averages out to 18,000 per year, averages out to approximately 50 patients per day. The North Carolina Cancer Registry has predicted that there will be approximately 298 new cases of cancer in Macon County this year. Our outpatient medicine department is in need of new chemotherapy chairs, new interior furniture as a part of this renovation. We are hoping that the town of Franklin will assist us in this endeavor. And we look at it as not, and we would like the town of Franklin to look at it not as giving money to the hospital, but as giving it to the citizens of the town and to the health care of the citizens of the town of Franklin. Any questions that I might be able to answer for you?
Thank you, Tom. Good presentation. Wendy Dalton, representing CareNet.
I'm Wendy Dalton, and I'm on the board of the CareNet food pantry here on Bickle Street. And our director, Vanessa, is on medical leave, and so I was assigned this duty an hour or two ago. So forgive me if I'm not as well prepared as I should be. We are requesting $5,000 in assistance to provide food for our families. This amount includes $4,500 for purchases of food for our food pantry, for food and paper supplies for our soup kitchen, and $500 to pay for delinquent water bills for specifically Town of Franklin clients. Just to highlight a few statistics that I think you all might like to be aware of. In 2010, CareNet distributed 161,298 pounds of food to 10,373 families. We provided a hot meal to 7,332 individuals from our soup cafe. We've seen the number of these persons that come in for a hot meal more than double this year. We have approximately 15 that come in on a daily basis for a hot meal. Our food costs, because we do purchase food in addition to our donations that our community is very generous to donate, our food costs that we do purchase food for to supplement the boxes to our clients for 2010 was over $48,764. We have assisted 856 families financially with $120,753 to help with utility and heating expenses, as well as rent and medication. And this is not included in our food costs. Just to give you an up-to-date idea of how dramatically our services have increased, for the month of August, we are now open 5 days a week, by the way, at our soup kitchen because of the demand. We serve 922 people compared to 642 for the month of August last year, an increase of 280 people in that month alone. We distributed 16,774 pounds of food in the month of August compared to last year of 14,280. One of our more popular ministries is the backpack program. This program, we provide a package. It's very discreetly packaged to students in our school system to bridge the gap from Friday to Monday. They get a hot meal, of course, two meals at school, breakfast and lunch, and many of them have nutrition needs over the weekend. So we have, that program has greatly increased. We went from 196 backpack packages to last week alone to this week 363, with an increase of 167 children. And we do not see these numbers going down, as you can imagine. 583 families in the month of August were served compared to 371. The total number of families were 1,421. So I just want to share those statistics with you. We respectfully request this $5,000.
Maybe good presentation for short notice. Well, you want to be, Tom, you came in. Anybody else didn't get signed up to have that may represent one of the groups making a request?
You got 2 sheets up here, you got 2 other names on that sheet.
Well, I thought next, I think it's one of them yours, right?
That's right.
Well, then come on up here for now.
The
Then we'll worry
ladies
about the next
before a
one.
gentleman, so Janet goes first.
Sign my name up first.
Can't even sign up on the same sheet. I have 12 spots here for next week.
We signed up first.
Okay, well, that tell you.
You've heard some excellent funding requests tonight, important funding requests. And that's one reason that I feel personally that the museum that helps support our Main Street ought to be in the town budget, period. And these monies that you have requested for nonprofits, then we go further for these folks who are asking for these needs. But at any rate, here I am representing the Scottish Tartans Museum and the request for the museum again this time to help pay for the t-shirt machine that we are trying to purchase and use to help the museum gift shop meet the needs it has to help the museum keep running. So that's what I'm here supporting, and if you have any questions about it, I'll be glad to answer. But our free museums are extremely important for our economy in the Main Street area.
Sure. Well, next to come on up.
When I arrived in Franklin, after being gone for 40 years, I got appointed to the board at the historic, I call it the Historical Museum. And after a bit working in the garden outside, I went to the 3rd floor. And folks, I couldn't believe it. That the citizens of this county, the town and the county government, allowed a building to sit there between 35 and 40 years after a fire with nothing basically done to it. So that's where I am right now. Last year I spent about 1,200 hours in that museum and trying to basically start a renovation program. We attract a lot of tourists at all 3 museums in town. We're trying to keep up with the numbers ourselves, and we figured last year we had between 3,000 and 5,000. Some folks stretch it a lot, but I don't think we had more than that. We have a lot of school classes that go through. Just tonight we had a group of Boy Scouts taking the tour. I have one pack of Boy Scouts who are handicapped to help me pull weeds in the memory garden. and they're helpful to the museum, and it gives them a lot of satisfaction also. Funding has come over the years from the county, the town, fundraisers, membership, shop sales, and we started a thrift store, which is doing pretty good, bringing in additional sales that go directly into the museum to help us keep the doors open. Basically, I look at it, what I'm trying to do is two major goals. I want to renovate that building and get the third floor looking pretty much like the first floor and the mezzanine. And B, I like to get the museum on sound financial footing. This is tough times right now. And we are surviving. We have money in the bank. But we attract tourists. We have local folks who come in for research and foreigners too, and education. It's amazing to me, though, that I ask a lot of local people, not a lot, because a lot of them come in. When was the last time you were in the museum? Or have you ever been in the museum? We get more people from out of the county and out of state, and they're very positive about their comments. They say they cannot believe that a small town like Franklin has such a nice historical museum. And I encourage them, and we encourage them, go down to the Tartan Museum, go down to the jail, because there are three of us. And we want to work more closely together. I've been to both museums this week, the other two, talking with them about how we can work better together with you guys and with the county. But mainly in the application that I sent in, since last year you were more concerned about the renovation rather than operations, this year I said I'll be happy to put it in renovations. I'll take the rest of it that you don't give out, because we can use a lot. There's a lot to be done. By the way, Sam used to be vice president. I don't know, Sam. I came on board while Sam was vice president. I just sort of observed a lot.
You're supposed to watch me.
I did watch it. I watched you very little. I'll be honest. I mean, I don't have anything to lose, because I'm giving my time and my money, and I'm trying to help the town. And the museum belongs to all of us. It belongs to every person here. And I just found every time I turn around, I find more records in there. And I got a great vice president. We're going to have everything inventory. We're going to know what we have, where it is, and in files, alphabetical order, etc., so we can help people. And you'd be amazed at folks who come in who are looking for relatives, who had great grandparents who lived here many years ago, and they want to come back to their hometown. So take a look at it.
Thanks, Bob.
Got any questions?
Thanks.
I know you have some questions.
I've got a question, Bob. On your expenses, $31,000 total type of the budget for consulting. What is that? Consulting.
That was the money that was used to pay the director of the museum until we ran out of money. And he is not being paid nearly that much now.
That explains it.
So salary not.
Yeah, it's under a contract.
What's he paid now?
$1,250 a month. He was paid 25. He was paid every 2 weeks before. 20. And you see, he was paid $32,500 when I came on board, and that's not happening now. It's not going to ever happen again.
Okay, with the, I think last year we gave you $10,000, and how much of that do you have left? How much
None,
do you
because
have?
$2,500 of it went into.
They used it up.
Yeah. I put it in furnace. We did, and I just spent $7,500 of it on heating, cooling on the third floor. That was not air conditioning or heating. So we are at zero from the town now.
So you spent this year that we gave you last year?
Yeah, because like I said, we couldn't do it, and we came to see Sam. he got you guys to and every time we'll spend something, and then I'll send him a council check and a copy of it, and then we get reimbursed.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay.
I want to take care of a few more things, a little bit out of order, then we'll take a short break. There's a petition for rezoning on Windy Gap property that needs to go, be forwarded to the planning board. That's margin number 8. It's contained in our agenda package. Next step is planning board, is that correct? Mike?
Yes, if I may, I have requested, because of some time concerns, as I had emailed everybody with the particular situation that we had on this parcel, or these parcels, which is unique. I requested the planning board have a meeting on the 13th to discuss this issue. That would allow their recommendation to be brought back to the town board at your next meeting. I think you're going to be meeting twice this month. And then you can set an October public hearing and review of the situation, which would resolve the whole case within 30 days shorter.
It would shorten it by a month.
Would be shortened by a month.
Which is the best we could do.
Which is absolutely the best we could do.
Sam, you're suggesting that we talked today that may possibly a need for a mid-month meeting?
Yes, and Chief Cade is also going to present some things later on this evening for discussion that also be facilitated by just extending the meeting to a second meeting this month on the 19th.
But for now, do we have a motion for this?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I had one other comment on this. I did list the parcels that are involved here. This is significantly different than the previous. We had one parcel plus about a half acre that had one owner. Here we're dealing with 8.25 acres approximately in 7 parcels with 4 separate individual owners.
Yes, sir. If this is the one that we're talking about,
yeah, it's got the list of names on the second
I think that many parcels under that much diversity of ownership probably alone takes it out of the spot zoning trouble. It's okay. I think there's some exigent circumstances about this too. If we could work with the property owner.
And I have been in contact with the health department at the county, so I know it's not the front office people, but they're going to work on the other staff.
Mr. Gruberman and Mr. Greenwood and I this morning, we talked about this situation, and if in fact we can meet on the 21st, I believe was what we were hoping to meet on. 19th. It's the 19th. 2 weeks from now. If we could do that, then depending on how we acted, then after getting a report back from the planning board, but then that would allow time to send out notifications to the appropriate owners and also that we could address it at our October meeting. So we've got a motion and a second. Is there a second? All in favor, raise your hands. Okay.
Yes, Mayor, before we leave that, could we run back to the request just a minute? From non-profit funding.
Sure.
Tonight, we're looking at $59,000, $125, and we've got $25,000 allocated. I've been through these, and a lot of these requests are tourist oriented, or they deal with tourism. I've been looking into the TDA, and I'm a little concerned about some things with the TDA. Now, it's an authority, and they can operate any way they pretty well want to, but they are still a public body. And looking over the Senate bill that authorized Franklin to levy a room tax and a tourism development authority.
Is this a whole new agenda item?
Well, no, I'm just commenting on the requests that are here tonight.
But the TDA is not on the agenda.
Are you going to be a hush?
I think if we just...
I'm not surprised.
I know. I asked the indulgence from the board.
You want me to go back to the kitchen? Like y'all did with the last time?
I don't know, but it just doesn't appear to be on.
Let me ask, well, no, obviously, I have been censored.
You can bring it up at the end of the meeting at a different time.
Sure.
We will own the subject right now, Ms. Henry. And the people that would be affected by what I've got to say are still here. And basically what it is, I don't know why some of these requests of nonprofits cannot go to the TDA as well as the town board. We're running out of money for organizations that deal with humankind. And we've got $190,000 in the TDA. 2/3 of it goes for promotion, and 1/3 of that can go to any tourism-related business. And what I'm trying to get at, Mr. Mayor, is I think that we need to look at sharing some of these funds. The T-shirt machine, those T-shirts are probably going to tourists. Macon County Library is needing $12,000, and the library does a great job for tourism, and I don't know why we couldn't jointly fund some of that request. The Macon County Historical Society and the other 2 museums on Main Street, that is perfectly something that the TDA could also be helping fund. We also have the Arts Council. They certainly deal with tourism. And I think that we could have them also going to the TDA. I think the TDA could jointly sponsor some of these requests, because our nonprofit funding, I think, was set up to really help people that are in tremendous need and were not necessarily tourist related. I think we can do this joint, and I think it's something the board needs to look at. And we need to be getting the quarterly reports from the TDA about the expenditures that are going on in the TDA. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for allowing me a couple of minutes.
Okay, there's an application for Verizon cell tower in Gaston that the next step would be to forward it, this special use application to the planning board. Is there a motion?
Second.
In favor, raise your hand. Okay, yeah. Hi, Bobby, will you want to talk? I tried to get your attention one time.
I hope that our proposal speaks for itself, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be delighted to answer them.
No,
And
well,
Mr. Scott was correct that we do certainly appeal to tourists, but most of what we do is for the people of Franklin. And I didn't bring this to show you, but I will. This is our Art Saturday that we're doing at our wonderful public library just this weekend, and it's for children. It's free. They're going to learn about the Constitution, and they're going to learn to sing the preamble to the Constitution. But most of what we do is for the local people, and it's free to them or affordable to them, and we certainly do hope that you'll support it personally.
thanks, Bobby.
We appreciate whatever you can do for us.
Bobby, I might mention one thing as far as the TDA is concerned. 1/3 of that money can be used for tourism-related expenditures and capital improvements.
Well, we don't own the building. If we did, I mean, we'd all be dead.
Maybe
So-
we'll get you one. You used the gazebo, maybe we can use some money for the
Exactly, we
gazebo.
use yours and we appreciate it, and I have the town sound system in my car right now. I mean, we appreciate these partnerships, because we can't afford to do that. So,
Thanks, Bobby.
whatever you can do for us, we thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have one more request.
Yes, sir.
Normally, when I address church groups on Sunday, I normally have a color guard with me. And I start out something like, good evening, congregation. And then I go into my Marine hood, and we speak loud and address it.
Name, rank, and serial number, sir.
Exactly.
No, you give me yours.
No.
What's your name?
My name is Don Lanson.
Yeah, we'll get some.
I'm a retired Chief Warrant Officer for U.S. Marine Corps, 31 years service. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a member of the Marine Corps League, which is located here in Franklin. We've been here since '97. Some years ago, one of your townspeople, by the name of Doc Fisher, established a little get-together every year around the 10th of November, which celebrates the anniversary of the founding of the United States Marine Corps. And our organization has continued this. Well, over the years, it's sort of grown. One of the things we do is we've enlisted the JROTC, the Marine Corps JROTC of Asheville High School. And we have 16 of their finest, and they come out and provide ceremonial services for us. The Marine Corps is celebrating its 236th year this year, November 10th. Of course, we celebrate it on the 5th because it's a Saturday and it's convenient. We normally pay for these young people. All of the Marine attendees from the Marine Corps League, we pay our own way. We accept no donations that way. But we do have to pay for the recruits and their transportation, or the cadets to come from Asheville to Cherokee where we have the celebration. This year, we are going to have a wounded warrior. We don't know what that entails because along with the wounded warrior, we'll probably get an attendant and we have to pay for them. And that is posing a little strain on us. In previous years, we've always gotten a lot of help from the American Legion and the VFW. But this year, with the economy the way it's been, I don't think they're going to be able to help us. And that's why we put into this grant. We'll entertain any questions you might have. Thank you for your attention.
Anybody else? Don't make it up. Don't sit back there and make something up now just because everybody else is standing up. But if you were on, if you had presented something like this to us, and you haven't had a chance, or somebody on your behalf hasn't had a chance, did I get them all? Anybody here from Reach or Habitat who wants to speak? Okay. Is Matt Kolodzik here? Come on, Matt. We'll get you taken care of. It's a tough group tonight.
I'll tell you.
Well, you want us to close the corner of Main and Iola for you?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for hearing me for a couple minutes here, and I'm sure y'all are looking at a piece of paper trying to figure out how to pronounce my name. I'll say just call me Smith if you can't do it that way. So, anyways, we are actually, I'm a youth minister at First Christian Church of Franklin, and we are putting on actually it's a youth and young adult concert for Iola at the gazebo on the 16th. It's a week from this Friday, and we've been planning it for a couple months here now. Got together with the Ministerial Association that's local around here, and started promoting quite a bit. You know, some radio and flyers and all that kind of stuff, and we've gotten a really good response. I sort of waited a little bit just to kind of see what kind of feedback we were going to get before we made this request to close it, but we've gotten a real good feedback from local churches and just people. We run a Facebook page, of course, so we get a lot of people going on there and commenting about it and saying that they're attending and so on. I can't give you an exact number as to how many youth and young adults are going to be there, but what I do know is that even if it's not a lot, the thing I would worry about is the fact that we're in close proximity to the road there with the gazebo, and if we don't close the road, I just have this nightmare of seeing people walking out the street and come back in with cars driving by, and so it's nice to have a little bit of space there. I'm sure y'all walked around and seen the gazebo, maybe been at Pickenon Square or something, and there's not a lot of room between where that performing stage is and the road. So just a real simple request. I know it's done every Saturday as far as for Pickenon Square. I've been around a lot of the downtown businesses and let them know what's going on. Of course, they're always excited to see something going on downtown because it just draws people in. So yeah, really just a simple request to
see if a week from this Friday, if we can close just a small section. It doesn't even have to be all of Iola, but at least up to a point where it's safe enough for people to be able to walk up and down and have some space to sit. So.
I make a motion that we close.
Well, one thing that y'all need to take into consideration, and I'm just repeating this now, we moved the picket, on the square, it won't be there next weekend or.
This weekend and the weekend
next
following
weekend
because of
Because
construction.
of all the construction stuff up there, so now do you want to put these people right in the middle of construction up there too?
There's not gonna be sidewalks gonna be tore up or anything.
Oh, are all the sidewalks around?
Just around the gazebo.
Just around the gazebo.
Oh, okay.
No problem, just right, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know, really I don't think that would have an effect. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty well marked off and so on.
No, it's gonna be really tore up.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, we walked up there.
They did
No, it's not that side of the street, it's just, it's.
Could they not go the same place that Pickens going?
Well, the only thing we've run into is we've been kind of promoting it to quite a few places.
If they're willing to, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I'm not, we're worried about it being really a safety hazard or more just a nuisance.
Yeah.
If it's just kind of messy and it doesn't bother you.
Oh, no. We're dealing with kids here, so I've got kids and we're missing them.
What we're doing is just having it out here, so we wouldn't be moving it. There's gonna be netting, there's gonna be yellow barrier lines and everything for.
On the sidewalk.
Right, the sidewalks. Again, and that, I think the fact that it's up on the stage, it's not gonna.
If they decide they want to tough it out at the gazebo, we want to close the street. They can always choose to move down here, I believe, if you.
Sure, if it looks rough. Right now, we'll just kind of maybe keep an eye on it. If it's looking real rough, then, it's hard when you've already put out a lot of promotional stuff to change it, but, we're.
I think it'd still be safer.
When are they supposed to start on that night?
Well, we would have started today, but washout conditions.
As soon as the rain stops, they're starting.
So you'd be able to see what's going on and get a feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can definitely take a look at it. If it's looking like it's pretty rough, then we can try to make some last minute changes. But in the meantime, if we can plan on it, we're happy to work around it. And it's just being in the heart of downtown, that's what we're
I guess you can always use the street that we're gonna close and reverse it and use the.
That's true.
County courthouse yard.
That's a possibility too.
Let Gerald close it off to the extent he thinks necessary.
It'd certainly be safer, no matter what, either way, if there won't be sidewalks to sit on.
You may not even close it up past the bank or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a
Yeah.
motion?
I'll second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
It'll take about 5 minutes.
Our handlers outside.
We'll be back in session. Resolution adopting a comprehensive transportation plan for the town of Franklin, Mike and Gruber, man.
Yes, sir. We have,
Good
we had,
excuse me, good to see you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm hoping to get to be 100% pretty soon. We did have Ryan Sherby come to the last town board meeting and made a presentation on the plan. He did give you a copy of the documents. There's an additional copy of those documents that make up the plan. It's actually a series of maps as opposed to a series of words. It's not a formal written out document, it's just a series of maps. This was done over a period of, I'd say 18 months or so that we've worked on it. Alderman, Vice Mayor Curtis, and Alderman Patrol were both on the committee, and worked on each of the projects. And we did, if you look at the Franklin reports, pages, this is what you're actually being asked to approve. While the overall plan is significant, if you look at the highway draft, this is basically covering those areas that were of concerns to the community and have been for a while. In some cases, there have even been arguments made for street improvements. And those need to be put into the plan at some point. In order to get into the plan for future funding, it must be part of this plan.
I'm really glad to see it's a 4-lane White Street. That's,
Yeah.
what?
I was trying to
That's right. With an extra turning lane.
Four lane and it's got the big median down there.
That's right, yeah, they're taking all the land on the south.
Well, that's one of our things to redo it.
And that's Scooter side.
They're just gonna merge it with Forest Avenue.
We did have a group of people because DOT, near the 11th hour, DOT is pretty close to the 11th hour. I think DOT came up with a list of road projects that were in some stage of consideration for future work. And of those, there were about 7 or 9 of them that directly impacted the town of Franklin. And there was a group of people outside of that meeting group that wanted that entire list struck and not to be brought forward and not make the public aware of it and all those kind of things. So I managed to raise a pretty good argument at one of the latest meetings, one of the final meetings, and managed to get all the town of Franklin's desires back on the list. So the items that we had selected, as a matter of fact, there had been a meeting about, I believe it was Wyatt Street improvements there was a meeting with DOT specifically on Wyatt Street, that if they had been successful in striking that would have made that meeting meaningless, because this project probably wouldn't come up for another 10 to 15 years.
We had to go to the meeting, the regional meeting.
Right,
And Berlin and I went to that and presented the fact about Wyatt Street probably needed it, and what happened in the front there.
I think I chaired that meeting, so we were well represented. And they got, you guys got me pretty close to talking to that.
Yeah, this is one of the top ones.
And of course, the public transportation map, as you know, that reflects on Macon County Transit and the bus service. So that's our public transportation. They are running regular routes in town, and it's not just an elderly or call taking to the doctor type of operation. It is a regular business-oriented public transportation device. So their current and future work is in here. The bicycle map is in here, and there's some bicycle enhancements that we're looking at. As a matter of fact, the latest iteration of the report, which is in a draft form, indicates that they're interested in making a bicycle-wide sidewalk across on the Main Street Bridge, and not just a 5-foot walking sidewalk. I think a bicycle sidewalk winds up about 13 feet. So they have enough room for the public and bike. You won't need that wide. So the bicycle inset C is showing the improvements that are needed in the bicycle routes. We do have a number of bicycle routes around, and some of those will eventually get a widened shoulder or paved shoulder that would be allowable for bicycle use. Of course, the pedestrian improvements, if you look at the map, the pedestrian improvements are basically all around the downtown area. And of course, we're participating in some of these, although we'd like to see the DOT's funding to be a little higher than the rest of the this time of what our expenses are. But those are the insets that you're asking to approve. This then goes to the county, and once they hear from Highlands, they will be acting on the rest of the plan. And at that point,
that plan will go forward. We will get our accredited points for having an adopted transportation plan. And then sometime next year, they will start considering projects. So we do have projects in our plan, and the initial funding would score fairly high because of this. So we've got, I think, in the first, what was it, first 10 projects or 15 projects, I think we've got like 5. So we're in pretty good shape as far as
Of course, if we don't adopt this, it puts us back a step.
yeah, we lose the 10-point advantage actually. And that's when you're dealing with a total of 100 points, a 10-point disadvantage.
This is a living document, so at any point in time, as far as this plan is, if something else comes up, then it can be reprioritized.
Right, they can reprioritize it within the plan. This is intended to serve till what, 2040? Partially because the way the money's going in the state. Well, we've got enough projects to take us to 2040 before they can fund it all. But at some points where other projects rise to the top quicker than certain ones in the process, we can adjust those priorities. Especially if the town has agreed, and this is one of the issues on the street review. If we've done the engineering ahead of time, we get extra points and outrank other county projects if we've done a certain part of the work ahead of time instead of waiting for the state to do all the work. So there's other ways to leverage projects in and out of this mix. But Ryan had scheduled a long time vacation. That's why he's been here to make the presentation.
Sure he did.
Okay, he indicated he was taking vacation.
Well, he did a good presentation the last time he was here.
Okay.
Well explained.
Mike and John, the way this agenda item says resolution adopting the comprehensive transportation.
There's an attached resolution on the second page.
Oh, yeah.
Should be on the second page of the document.
So a motion that we adopt the resolution.
I make a motion we adopt.
I second.
Further discussion, all in favor, raise your hand. That passes. Thank you.
I think I'm done.
Now, Derek.
Could I address Mr. Goodman before you leave us? What is the outlook for Water Street being I live on it? You gonna grind it up, widen it, or what?
I think there'll be improvements. Some of it looks like it might be widening, but not
How much?
a couple of feet.
How much you gonna get?
That's between.
Make a lot of firewood.
And that'll, if it's too much.
I can take 2 feet, but that's it. I got tractor trailers in my front yard.
If your demand is too high, the project will be delayed.
Board, Mr. Mayor, Janice, Dan, how you doing? A few years ago, about 4 years ago, I approached the board about noise in Franklin. One of the past administrations came up with all the rules and regulations. It covered about 18 types of noise. My concern is, implement. It tells you how to do it, tells you what to do, but nothing's being done. The problems are tractor trailers coming down the road using jailbreaks. In other towns, excuse me, in other towns like Silver, you'll see signs, which I brought in here before, says no jailbreaks, no tractor trailers, no loud excessive noise. And that's not being done here. You want a tourist attraction, and that doesn't go good when you got a lot of noise. They'll go somewhere else, and it gets worse and gets worse, and that's what's happened. And Sissy, I know that you have heard what I've heard.
I just know. Well, that's true, but most of those tractor trailers, the one, we have, a lot of them have been converted. I mean, didn't we do this one time?
We have to wait until a certain highway
designated?
Well, it's the
28.
Depot Street extension is supposed to be the truck route. And what the DOT has promised the town after we petitioned them is that the trucks will be rerouted once the construction project is finished off of Siler Road and Battle Mountain Road. All of the truck traffic is going to be rerouted to come into town using that access. And Wyatt will then be closed to truck traffic under that plan, but it requires the DOT to finish their construction work before they will approve redesignating the truck route. And that will cure a good part of your truck noise problem.
That'll cure the jake brakes and all that.
Yeah.
When they get down in front of my house, that's when they implement the gearing.
Well, that's because we put a sign up encouraging them to do
They're just
so.
wishing you good morning, Al.
You know, I never did like you. I'm just
I voted for you one time. Anyway, the application coming from automobiles, man, it's got worse. Seems like, what was it, Radio Shack that's selling those things? I'm just kidding, bro.
They've been there 10 years.
But, it's got worse. You know, I mean, it's really bad. Something needs to be done.
How are you gonna control that though, Al? I mean,
Very
right
easy,
there.
down in South Florida.
In our front, we can sit in our and you can hear the boom, 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 boom at the street. I mean, that.
my house, and I live over the hill from you, and I can hear it.
So,
It's in my opinion.
but how are you gonna control that?
Like they do in Gwinnett County, like they do in South Florida, like they do in Jacksonville. If it can be heard within 50 feet, it's a nuisance. You get a ticket. If it's done again and the same person, you know, recognizes the tag or whatever, then you get a citation. All this in here as to how you enforce it. Now, I don't know what administration, you know, put this in, but I think it's before anybody's time is on board now.
I agree with you, and one thing that I've wondered about is when one of those cars comes by and everything inside of you starts vibrating, that's a physiological problem.
Well, it hurts my ears.
Well, it hurts my ears, but I have actually felt the vibrations from some of these things, and it's subjective, I realize, but it does look like when somebody comes through town with one, what you smell, you got one?
It's part of the week, man.
But I'm serious, you can feel the vibrations from some of these.
Well, the glass in my house, I've got good glass. But I think the board should, well, you know, I asked them 3.5 years ago, requested, you know, y'all to look into it, but I don't think anything came out of it.
Well, if you're here 3.5 years later and you ain't figured out what came out of it, you can figure nothing did.
You know, you was in charge of this board.
I still am, and I just don't know where we're going with this. I mean, I really am not sure that the board is.
You have a sitting attorney over here that's highly knowledgeable in things like this, and I think he can't do it, I'll go see him there.
Maybe he's got one big ounce in his car.
Anyway, you know, y'all have a copy of this. Somewhere. It's called chapter 94 in ordinance. You got copies of it. Well, if I got a copy, it came from y'all. I know it. Somebody in the news media gave it to me years ago, but I can't tell you who it was. I lose my source. Just no, seriously, if you can work on it, do it, cause it's,
I'll teach you.
it's pretty bad.
You not even got the dogs yet.
Oh, wait a minute. That's somebody else.
What was the impetus for the, is it you, did you ask?
Yes, I did.
Jump in here, Bob.
And it has been, taken care of, and everybody's happy about it, except
With the
maybe the
dogs?
owners of the dog.
So it has been taken
It
care of?
has, and it was thanks to the Franklin Police Department. They went up there and actually talked to the folks, and, everything was smoothed over, as I understand.
What?
We had a barking dog problem.
Well, did they
quit.
Keep the dogs from barking.
I don't know what they're doing, the dogs are not barking, from what I understand from the complaint.
What street is that on?
That's some up there, too.
I didn't know where that address was. I
I
couldn't figure out where it was. It's a street I never heard of.
Anyhow, it has been resolved. Thanks. Town Mountain or something, yeah. But it's been resolved. And the animal control ordinance took care of that, the barking dog situation.
Really, can y'all, look into this, see what you can do? If other people are doing it, I'm sure you can do it too.
I'll be glad to, I'm on the listserv and I can send out something to what other towns are doing if that would help.
Okay, tried Gwinnett County, Georgia. I forgot the town in South Florida, but they knocked it off. I'm incomplete. I guess that's it. Sam, you got anything to say? I'll say it.
Have a seat.
Thank you. Thank you, board.
Let's see your card. Any other discussion on agenda item 11? All right, now to the headliner, I guess. Discussion on the nonprofit funding pool application. My understanding was that we were going to try to refine our list of criteria so that we may have some objectivity upon which to base these various applications. Now, Billy, George, you okay? Excuse me. Okay. Now, Billy is suggesting that a lot of the criteria that we have really been using in the past is contained in our application that they complete. Is that what you're saying? And has anybody got one of those handy, or that may be a good place to start to make sure that it involves, you've raised some points tonight that you want to, I'm sure, flesh out more at this session about, you suggested a criteria of people versus tourism in such a shorthand way. But I guess we just kind of open for discussion.
Well, one line said, on the amount not to exceed $5,000.
What do we want that?
So anybody that put in one for over $5,000 ought to be disqualified.
Disqualified or capped?
Yeah.
Place cap. I don't think we should do anything.
Yeah, I think we all just, that ought to be one of the first things. We can't, we've got to make the little money that we have go as far as we can. Different organizations. And how much do we have? I thought we had 40, it was 40,000.
We had 40,000 in the
Okay.
budget.
How much of that 40 do we want to pony up at the start of the year?
Well, okay, so we're talking about two issues here. One is a cap, and the second is a rainy day fund.
Right.
Are people comfortable with a $5,000 cap? That number seems to ring kind of.
We set that in concrete, that's what it says in there.
All right, okay, well then that's not an issue.
And when we look at the rainy day fund, if we put $10,000 in there, when you're looking at what we have funded, that's a pretty good chunk for a rainy day fund. If we're gonna try to set standards that these applications have to be in at a certain time like we have now, sometimes rainy day funds come because, oh, we forgot to do it or something like that. And that's what we've got to be careful with.
Well, then we'd be better off, would we be better off just to say you have to have your application in by whatever day? We give the money out and that's it, and don't come back?
No, I think there
Well,
can
I
always
think
be a chance of a crisis.
how many emergencies did
Something
we
going
have
on.
this last year?
Well, but you can still deal with emergencies. I mean,
Yeah.
but why have $10,000 or $5,000 set aside when you know somebody's gonna come on and ask for it just because they figure out we got it?
It says on your checklist, the amount requested cannot exceed $5,000, and the one I'm looking at is scratched through $5,000.
Well, most of them did, yeah.
I almost think too, with some of this, with the economy as bad as it is, I almost think would not have a problem dropping it to 4,000, so that we could maybe spread it further.
Well, 5,000 is a cap, that doesn't mean it's a minimum.
But even if you left the 40,000 in there, and these are the applications we have, you're still gonna have an emergency, even if you did all these. I mean, you didn't do 5,000, you have to hit 5,000. Some of them are way up.
Here's my question, here's the question I have. If we give the maximum, something like, I'll say, CareNet, and if half a year from now, there's a situation arise where CareNet just swamped with having cuckoo stuff, are we capped? Can we give any more to CareNet then, because they capped at 5,000, or would they still get possibly a second consideration as a rainy day fund?
That's an emergency.
Well, see, that's one issue that I think we should be able to figure out.
But we would look at what we have.
But the question is, are they limited, not just CareNet, but is any one group limited at that max? Or would they still give an exigent circumstances?
What you have to, I mean, if they filled out the application to begin with, and they had it in, they are not looking at an emergency. 9 times out of 10, if an emergency arises, they're gonna come here to us and let us know. And then I think that's when we have to make that decision.
So you're saying you're not saying?
I don't think we put a cap just to say, I mean, like the $5,000 cap we have is, but then we can't say, well, you can't come back for more.
It'd be on the annual request, but I see the rainy day fund is something that I didn't forget to put the application in, is that we had a 2-week snowstorm, and had a lot of power issues, and they need emergency funds for heat or something like that. That's what I see a rainy day fund.
Do we want to call it a rainy day fund? We don't have to call it that, you know what I mean? Is that what we intend it for?
Well, if we do these, we have, okay, you're gonna have money set up. And you basically.
Depends on how much you get.
And if that money, I mean, well, I think if you did all of them, I mean, you can't do, I mean, we're capping all of them at 5, I mean, you can't give somebody just that. I mean, you can have it. I figured it out.
So Billy is wondering this. If we put a drop dead, if we put a hard deadline for annual requests, and that deadline comes and goes, then a group shows up with a fresh request because they just missed it, always saying we're not going to consider them, but we are going to have a reserve just in case of emergencies, of true emergencies. We may consider them if it was an emergency, but not if it was just there for annual.
If they came in and said we didn't need your money except for last week when the snowfall came.
Well, and we'll have to look to see what
That's
they
what
have.
I agree with that, that's what I'm
fine with that.
And also, what do they consider emergency?
That's what we consider.
I mean, what we consider.
And we won't know that
Until we get the.
Now, are we comfortable with the $10,000? That seems to be quite a bit. That's 25% as the rainy day fund.
I like us to hold out at least 5,000.
I would like to see us go through one cycle to see.
Well, this year, how much do you want to hold out?
We said if we didn't spend it, we could carry it over next year, we'd have that money additional.
Good luck on that.
But if we,
5 or 10.
after we.
I hear 5 and I hear 10.
Well, what, after we do this.
About 7.
After we, decided on all this. Well, let me see how much money we have left.
We're here discussing.
I'm just going
Sure, I know you are. But what we've got to get into, Sam's over there waiting about this time and all, is we've really got to refine, what the criteria, how it fits.
Criteria on that application.
It is, you're right.
But let me throw the monkey wrench into it, since you're good at it. I know you're good at it. One of the criteria that we picked is nonprofits. You can't be a business and walk in and ask us $1,000. Okay, so you gotta be a nonprofit. But my question on the nonprofit is, if you are a department, subsidiary, something of some governmental agency, I don't think we should be contributing to some other governmental agency.
Example. Well,
Library, that's exactly.
Well, and that's the county, I mean, it's the county library, it's
well,
supposed to
but
be.
my grandchildren use that library and they come in the town.
Well, and I'm sure you pay some county taxes, don't you?
Yes, but I just feel that.
She's going from the heart now, you got the brain, she's going from the heart.
No, that should, but that's
I
the
know.
discussion, I mean, I
Sure it is.
really don't know,
I think the library affects, what affects it?
Well, that, Sissy, you can say that about a lot, that's not the criteria.
Library, I don't know, I just feel like that. It just does so much with children and I think it would be
and I agree, but I also think that the funding needs to come from the county. I mean, if there's a legitimate need, then I wanna go to the county and say, you need to fund this. I mean, that's perfectly fine. It's double dipping where, we're paying from both sides.
Isn't the county given to them?
Sure they are, it's a library.
Okay.
But that's, I mean, that's.
I think what you're saying.
So I think that, and if you don't talk about the library, if you talk about something else,
Well, let's look at the museum,
okay.
historical museum.
Okay.
All right, it's, county, I mean, everybody has their historical, we're all historical too, but that's something, we need to, look at.
Do you know how much the town has already contributed to the building?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I know.
What are we talking about, the library?
No,
the museum?
museum.
Okay.
And that's again, I think we have to look at, if we have this funding pool the way we do, I think it's fair to one, fair to the other, I think we have to watch that.
Well, so here's the other drop of the shoe. Do you have any money that goes to operating costs? Do we give any money for operating costs? Now, one of the things that we talked about before was that, no, we didn't want money going to day-to-day. It had to be a special project with the roving reader. It had to be something, and it also, because it's public funds, has to be tied back to the town. It can't be that we're doing something for the children in Swain County.
No.
It has to be for the town plan, not even making the county, but the town plan. So, what do you want in there about that? Do you want me to come and just say, well, we need some money, and we're just gonna throw it in the general pot? I don't think that's what we're
No, I
doing.
don't think, and I don't think that, I think that's where we can sit around and discuss these things too. I think if
Well, that's what, yeah.
if we put every little detail down, we're gonna back ourselves on the cut, and the quarter, we won't get about any of it.
Well, and maybe we don't need to give out as much as we
Well,
do.
for some says I don't.
We used to give out lots of money before, dancing.
You're very generous with the town.
I know. Some of these things, I think if we get just too specific, I think this is our first time doing this like this, and I think we're gonna have to go through one cycle to know what we're doing.
Well, didn't we do this last year?
Not as strict, I mean, we're getting a little stricter as we go along.
And one of these days, somebody's gonna run against us and whoop us, and then there'll be a U-Bunch here, and then they're gonna have their own way of looking at it. So you're not gonna get to it. You tried, you couldn't do it, so be quiet, okay?
It's been a good year for you.
That's right.
Missed your chance.
What
wasn't me and Greenwood running, just kidding.
Oh, me, you know, the museums are just so critical.
You know what I'd like to say with the museum?
The single person to run off.
No, I would like to see, and this is not my idea.
Oh, yeah, it's coming from your lips, okay.
But I would like to see if we had one director who is qualified, has done this type of work, doing all three of those museums as far as the administration, this type of thing. Then let each museum have their friends of the museum, or, friends of the Gem Society, friends of the historic, and let them do their fundraising. That's what we did with the library. And let that person be qualified, and then let here we go again, the town and the county work together with it to pay the individual to do it.
So you were up in the library.
But that's done.
Your turn, yeah.
Where we at, Janet? What criteria we got?
To cap it at 5,000, rainy day fund, maybe either 5 or 10, and set a deadline just to have it like one time a year. Give it that way at once.
And to adopt the principles that are outlined in the application.
And then, to be related to citizens, this, what you're using it for has to be related to somebody that lives in Franklin. To the citizens.
I think the definition there should be public purpose requirement. Use of the fund.
Thank you. But that's all I've got down so far.
Okay.
What else would we need?
Well, the other issues that Billy was talking about when he was drawing it from the current application, are you going to fund continuing operations, or are you going to fund one-time?
Karen stood up there. She made darn sure that this was not a one-time thing. This was
Well,
continuing.
if most of these are continuing, basically you've got the historical museum, you've got the library. Most of them will always come back the next year.
Well,
Is that
what I
you're
meant
talking
was, you're not funding operating expenses.
And
you're
no
funding,
operating,
for
no.
instance, capital costs.
I don't think we
or a
want them to
specific
figure
project.
No, I think if we do like the Roving River project, or we're doing like the money we gave the Historical Society Museum last year was for maintenance.
Or what the hospital's asking for.
Hospital is asking for, I think those types of things, no, I don't think it should be for operating expenses.
And then another issue
Well,
that
maintenance is
you brought up, Billy, was whether or not you're going to restrict it to nonprofit. Is there an organizational criteria you're going to restrict it by? That was another question.
If we restricted it to nonprofits, and we know businesses, but what businesses would really come? Most everything like that's nonprofit.
Definition-wise, I think you can't say a business is a nonprofit.
No, but I mean, what would you, what type of business would come?
You really just can't even consider a grant to a for-profit business at all, because it's not legal.
What is
No,
that?
You just can't.
Just, and I'm not suggesting anything, but what is that?
It's at the meeting, they have a group that, of counselors and psychologists that work with, the court system, mediating with all these.
They get a lot of cases getting deferred from the court system to go through them.
Well, I know, but would they, what would they be?
Yeah.
Isn't that mediation, is that the mediation, is that out on the No, or is that the
Courthouse.
Is that
No, they
on the-
listen to their address.
But Billy wanted, are they chartered, or they 503, are they,
I'm sure
considered
they're
nonprofit?
they're not for profit, delivery for profit.
But are they just set up by the
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, are they a subsidiary of the state of North Carolina?
Let me ask you, though, and their application does not make clear what kind of
It
organization.
did not, it did not. And I was not clear either about what the money was gonna be used for either.
That might be something they need to.
Yeah, they didn't meet, when I read theirs, they didn't meet hardly any of the criteria that we said.
Bob, what you got?
I'm concerned about this request from the hospital. It's nonprofit, but in a way, it's a nonprofit business. How do we know that $5,000 towards capital expenditure for a hospital that's now managed by Memorial Mission is going to serve? We've talked about, we want to put the focus on Franklin residents, taxpayers, Franklin taxpayers. I'm concerned about how this is going to fly with the hospital. I'm not sure.
I would say at this point in time, there's no, that there, in fact, there ought to be some on the foundation. And I can say that the money right now is going towards that renovation. Mission at this point in time has nothing to do with that renovation.
Well, all right, whether it does or not, but how do we justify $5,000 to Angel Hospital for its capital improvement?
Well,
it's a big corporation.
Another camp, we can cut that in half.
The first cousin to that question there is, do we put, I mean, obviously, Angel Hospital is a different animal than what most of these other applicants are.
That's my concern.
Right, and then therefore do we weigh that in our decision, because we've got a whole lot more requests, especially if we're gonna give them $30,000. We got a whole lot more requests than we have money, so we're not gonna be able to give everybody $5,000 or even $4,000. And so then you get into a balancing act and all, but the hospital, we all know it's vital to the town. And we all know that, that the people work hard, and I don't doubt that whatever dollar that we would give them probably could be easily justified. The question is, how does that fit in such scarce resources, whether or not we can give a dime or a dollar or 500 or 5,000? It is kind of a different entity than the others. Not undeserving, but just kind of different criteria. Are we getting somewhere, Sam?
If we give that, and we've got Midwest serving the people of Franklin too, then is Midwest going to come to us because they're going to be doing some renovation and they want us to fund that, help fund that?
Their hospital in Silva.
Yeah, but they have all kind of doctors and all here and offering all kind of service. They don't. I thought all these doctors are going over to Midwest now. There sure is.
I don't know, to be honest, I hadn't thought about that, but I can see.
Hospice, I can see hospice coming.
I can
I can see home health coming. All of those are under the same umbrella of the hospital.
Well, we're not, is it anybody's idea that we're gonna decide money tonight? Is anybody thinking along that line?
I don't think so.
The criteria, we're going to try to establish the criteria for how we give the money out.
Well, let's look at a couple. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, we all go home and we ponder over the situation, we write the figure down and come back and divide it by 6.
Let me ask y'all something.
Please do.
$5,125 for a t-shirt machine. And we've got people hungry and making it Franklin. Sam, why would this not go to the TDA? The t-shirt machine request.
It really doesn't have anything to do with advertising. I was just talking to Bob Poindexter about that. There's a lot of advertising. He was asking, can you help with an advertising campaign for the Historical Society? Yeah. It's already set up for that. We've already engaged an advertising contract down in the Atlanta market.
But Sam,
But as far as a t-shirt machine, that.
Is it not tourism related? And in your chart, in the Senate bill that formed the TDA, it said that 1/3 can be used for tourism related expenditures.
Yes.
And that you can also use some of this money for tourism related capital expenditures. And I'm a little concerned that everything the TDA has been doing has been strictly for billboards and advertising. And yet the charter, or the act, says that it can be used for anything basically that has anything to do with tourism.
Yes.
Is that not right?
You're right in terms of what it's authorized, but the TDA voted to limit it to advertising for events and such things or activities by whatever agency comes to them.
So
The historical
So then the
society.
TDA went against what the state authorized.
And I'm not sure that's right anyway. I think the remaining 1/3 is supposed to be for facilities related to, does it say?
Let me just read it to you. The authority shall use at least 2/3 of the funds remitted to it under this subsection to promote travel and tourism in Franklin, and shall use the remainder for tourism-related expenditures.
But read the definition, there's a definition of tourism-related
Tourism-related
expenditure.
expenditures that, in the judgment of the Franklin Tourism Development Authority, are designed to increase the use of lodging facilities, meeting facilities, or convention facilities in the town to attract tourists or business travelers to the town. The term includes tourism-related capital expenditures.
All right, time out here. Okay. I don't doubt that it's coming in the near future, but we're gonna need to have a discussion about the TDA. I feel it's brewing. However, it's not here tonight, and also whatever decisions that we make concerning how we handle our limited budget should not be contingent upon what we believe should be kicked in, matched, or otherwise brought in by the TDA. There's gonna be a day for this, but I don't think it's this day. We're getting pretty close. I think we're getting a feel, and it's probably not a lot different from where we've always been, Billy, on what our cost. Again, every board's gonna look at it different. Every year, we're gonna look at it different. We're gonna have our, depending on how much monies that we have. I sense that we do need to go ahead and decide on either $5,000 or $10,000. Not decide, but just try to get a consensus on a rainy day. I don't think we've got there yet.
No, but we need to go going out tonight, what we've got to speak. I mean, that would help as far as the rest of the deliberation.
If a Sissy's thinking it might be easier to back into that by the time you figure out who we want to, how it is.
Once we go through.
Right.
See what comes out of it.
Now, in connection with this discussion, is the board able to be in attendance 2 weeks from this evening at some time in the evening to have a continuation meeting?
I will not, but that's okay.
And the continuation meeting would be for purposes of this discussion, Sam, possibly to move forward on the actions of the planning board on the Windy Gap decision. We got the men and
Fire department issue.
yeah, but is that something we need to take care of this evening, or would that be?
Yes, Warren has an update presentation.
Because I didn't see it on here, but.
This is one of the things in the wrap-up discussion. It's not really an action item at this point for the board.
Okay.
It's a briefing.
Explain why we have to do the continuation.
Do we have further constructive conversation about this item number 12 on the non-profit funding pool application?
I do have one, and I'm trying to get some further clarification on that one request, the one for the marine attachment.
Yeah. You mentioned something, Asheville to Charity.
Asheville to Charity, and that stuck with me. I'd hate to be the one.
They don't have
parade,
nonprofit
but-
status.
And it's, well, there's no way that's public purpose for Franklin. I mean,
They have no
for charity.
budget, they have no record of any expenditure. They take donations and try to give the money out. Not that they couldn't in the future, if they come back later on, but right now, that's it.
Is
this the Marine Corps ball that they donated to? That's what I thought it was. I just thought, the Marine Corps ball, it's held all over the world.
Well, they do toys for tots. I mean, there's a lot of good things they do, because I donate to them, but I don't think they need crackers.
But this is what I guess my question was this for the ball specifically? I wasn't
I
sure.
thought this was for, actually, you were saying, I thought was transportation.
Transportation.
ROTC folks to bring them over here.
And
Or
it helps the disabled vet.
Well, the ball's held
And
in
the
church.
disabled vet.
So I don't know.
Well, let's leave it with the crackers. More about what we can.
Okay, Mr. Warren Case, finally.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, tonight when y'all came in, there was a demonstrator fire apparatus out front that is almost an exact replica of the apparatus that y'all graciously allowed us to go out to bid for at the last meeting. And we wanted to get it there tonight for you, number one, because the picture's worth 1,000 words, but it really makes a difference when you can lay your eyes on something to see what we're really going to purchase. And to be honest with you, tonight, we'd hope to have some results back to you from the bids. We did get bids back on apparatus. We've opened the bids. We've also got some proposals back on the different financing packages. And to be honest with you, I was not 100% comfortable coming to you with a decision on what I thought our best direction should be on that tonight. So basically, we wanted to postpone that decision to a little later date. One of the other things that I would like to bring to the board's attention that I would like for us to at least consider, in order for us to make a truly educated decision, I need to make sure that we've got all the facts on the table and we've looked at all our options before we spend a substantial amount of money. A piece of apparatus is going to last us for way past my career with Philip Franklin. Based on what we saw today, this particular vehicle was out here today as a demonstrator. It's used. It has about 5,000 miles on it. I looked at it. Chief Davis has driven it. We've climbed the ladder. We've taken it to the places in the town it needs to go. One of the things I feel like we should do is enter into some sort of discussion with these folks, and at least entertain the option, even though we know we don't necessarily want to use a truck that's 10 or 12 years old. At least entertain some discussion with these folks before we come to a real definite decision on the bids we've received and go a little further in that process. Look at our other options on something like what's actually sitting out here tonight. And if it ends up being what we need, meets our needs, and actually saves us some money in the long run, then I certainly think I would be lacking in my responsibilities if I didn't at least entertain those options and bring back an educated decision to you, either continuation meeting or whatever that's decided on by some other folks.
Isn't it a demo vehicle?
It is a demonstrator vehicle.
That's good, because I think you're exempted from having to rebid it if it's a used demo. If it's used or a demo, then you won't have to rebid it, so that's good.
And so if you're really wondering whether we have our heart set on something brand new or a demo, I suspect that's not we don't want something 15 years old.
Correct.
But a demo, he said it's 11 model.
Yeah, that is a 2011 model.
And of course, the company continues the maintenance schedule, the warranty, regardless of the number of miles it has on it in demonstrated status.
And I hate to come to you and say, well, I haven't made a decision, but I really want you to understand that we want to put our due diligence in, and whatever decision we come back to with, we're 100% sure that's what we want.
You want our support to try to talk them into the best deal you can on that demonstrator.
Yes.
Basically, that's what we want that to.
We want to.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Go forward and don't act excited out there on it. I was telling the boys in here that Warren needs to look a little bit calmer out there rather than he was trying to sell it to me.
I am so relaxed to be working for the town of Franklin.
And did you have, do we need to make a motion on this, sir?
Well, the other question, no, the other part of that question, of course, is we're still looking at two vehicles, the aerial and a pumper, for consideration, and there are also demonstrator pumpers in the inventories of these companies that can be evaluated.
But we apparently didn't get a lot of bang for our buck in the couple.
The hope for reduction
Bundling's about it.
Didn't materialize. And so this is a pursuit of an alternative that may still yield a discounted price to us, at no cost, really, because of the demonstrator status. That we
And
have.
it's a higher priority than the pump.
Yeah, the aerial is by far the higher priority.
So it could be divided and conquered.
I just want to make sure y'all understand that we're not shirking our responsibilities on trying to make that decision, but we want to make sure when we come, we have given you the right option. What time do we want to have our next meeting?
Normally continued meetings,
5:30. Sounds good to me.
because it's 5:30, and we'll treat you with at least a bologna sandwich.
Yeah, I'm not adjourning yet, I'm just getting posted, walking around the table here.
There's one other optional item, before I chastise you, we're still not making progress on
Oh, we're getting there.
nonprofit funding pool, but back to the other thing is the basic decision on how or whether or not you guys even want to get paid.
Isn't the consensus that if it's okay with Janet and the accounting staff on the first pay period of the month?
But I want to get you to understand the process. There's basically two alternatives. And this is post direct deposit. Because what caused this issue, I think, to come up is that, of course, the board used to get a real check at its board meeting. But the way Janet handled that was that it was run in the payroll previous to the board meeting, and she simply held it for the board meeting. So, in essence, the replication of that means that Janet can do it based on the last pay period prior to the board meeting, or the alternative, to keep the payroll system running, is simply to put you over on the same payroll that the employees are paid under and spread it out over 26 payments during the year.
Why would you have to spread it out?
Well, I'm just saying that's an alternative. What that means is
Same
then
for everyone.
you're receiving a set amount, just like the employees would, for each pay period.
But if you get paid like it, is there no way that first pay period that y'all have, that we could not be paid on that first pay period, the full amount?
That would require you, because the way the pay periods float, there's 26 pay periods in a year, not 2 per month. Well, because you were paid once a month with the school system, right?
Right.
Okay. The town is
Except for
operating on a
holidays.
26 pay period system per year, which means there's going to be a difference. Sometimes it'll go way past your board meeting, sometimes it'll be earlier in the board, it'll rotate, in other words.
Just tell us.
What dates do the regular employees get paid? Like the
Well,
second
it
Thursday?
varies. It varies.
Every
It
second
varies
Friday.
because of
It's
the
every-
use of the 26.
It's on
pay
Friday
periods.
usually, unless there's a holiday, and then you get it in on the Wednesday, but I could give you a schedule, but it's always, sometimes it's in the middle of the month, sometimes it's at the very end, it just depends on how it rotates. You have to do it every 2 weeks.
2 months out of each yearly pay cycle.
You get three
There'll be
payrolls.
three pay cycles.
Yes.
But we're not wanting, we're just
Well,
wanting once a month.
I understand.
But we'd like it twice a month, but
Well, you can have it,
Have we been paid for September yet?
no, not
So,
till the end of the month.
you get a check out sometime in September, and starting in October, our checks come out the first pay period in October, is that tough?
No, because yours are on monthly, and you've got other employees that's monthly. And I don't think I can check the audit to be sure, but I'll check one time. You can't really prepay employees' payroll.
But it wouldn't be prepaid, would it? 'Cause
Not
we
for
meet the
young,
first-
but other employees.
Well, then they could stay on whatever they are.
Well, you can't have two monthlies. I mean, when you decide, you're either monthly or bi-weekly, is what I'm trying to say. You can't pay, see, if I pay monthly at the first of the month to try to give change, it's gonna pick up these other 5 or 6. Then if I pay them at the end of the month, I'm gonna pick ends up again. So you've got to pick and choose.
Tell us.
Computer.
What's best, what works out best?
Well, I mean, I think part of the problem, what was happening in the past, like this month, you just got it on August the 26th. What I would have done if you'd actually got a hard check, I would have printed it, signed it, and then I would have held it almost 2 weeks to the night. But see, you just don't get checks anymore, it's automatic deposit.
But we're on the new system. I mean,
So I could make it out a schedule when the checks will come out, and if you just want to change your accounts that your husband and wife can get it, I don't have no problem.
Would it be easier?
I mean,
to
that's
say-
part of the problem. I think everybody's used to getting that much money, and I understand. I mean, you know, it's sort of like they're spending money, and I can put it in another account if you want me to.
And just put it on a certain day of the month each month?
Well, no, it's not going to be on a certain day. It's going to be with the payroll. It has to rotate.
Well, then let's do that.
If you just want a separate account, I just have to have a 40 check.
No, we don't want a separate account, we just want to be paid earlier
A
than
separate
we
account
paid.
of our own, or just a separate account inside the town's?
Well, no, it has to be for payroll, because that changed years ago. If we go back to paying like accounts payable check-ins, I'll be fine. I have to pay for payroll, that's the law.
The simplest
Yeah.
system
Somebody talk simple.
is simply to put you guys on the same pay schedule as the town employees, and you get 26 deposits made.
And then I can give you the schedule.
So we'll get paid twice a month.
It'll be on Friday, yeah. And sometimes it'll be,
Year.
it could be 3 times a month, 7 a month.
Yeah,
Okay.
twice a year, 3 pay.
Okay.
Then you're on a set system, it goes automatically into your accounts, and really, then it's not tied to the board meetings or anything like that. You're just getting the same deposit as when the town employees get paid.
But we do need to vote on it, because once I change it, I don't want to change it back in about 2
You
months.
need to give us a schedule when that is.
Sure, we can give you the same schedule as the employees do.
Only on the weeks of the,
And that's
well,
the
5
same.
weeks, if it's a 5 week.
$30 a shot. Yeah.
Well, then let's don't do it. We don't have to.
No, I'm just saying, it's the simplest.
I still don't know why our checks can't come out the first payroll period.
I don't understand that either, I really don't. I'm hard.
Well, do you want me to prepay people and break the law?
us.
Because
But
not you, but I'm saying the other employees that's on monthly, I don't know what to put them on, is what I'm trying to say.
No, go ahead, you'll be all right.
No, I mean, it's fine, whatever you want to do. I mean, I don't care one way or another. I don't,
You don't want.
well, I have a hard enough time trying to keep records of my banking account without doing 26 deposits. It's something that completely blows my mind, so.
Now, we give you those notifications, I mean, I don't know, I can give those earlier, I don't know. You just have to come and pick them up. I mean, I
It's
give the
deeper than that.
notifications out when it goes,
Well,
it's
it
in your
really
law.
is.
I mean, if you want me to change it, I can start it in October payrolls. Instead like for September, we've already got started that. I can do it for October if you want me to, change it by week.
How hard and how legal would it be that starting in October, our check in full comes out the first payroll period?
I don't
the check.
think we can do it because yours are monthly. We're gonna have to either do bi-weekly or the end of the month still.
Because it was prepaid.
You'll be,
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if they prepay us, it's everybody else that we can't prepay. Because ours is there whether we're here.
I guess we could change everybody monthly to bi-weekly if you want to, and then we could pay everybody bi-weekly. I could change these monthly people to bi-weekly.
No, we're just leaving it where it's at, because what we're getting ready to do, I don't think everybody's understanding what each other's saying. There's a lack of, or there's not a communication, it's just not gelling. But what we're getting ready to do is to mess up somebody else's.
Yeah, we don't want to mess up.
No,
And that's what's gonna happen.
No.
So until we have a better grasp on it, I think it'd be, my opinion, we need to leave it where it's at.
I agree.
Can we get a vote on it?
No, not to leave it where it's at, not leave it over that.
Okay, just leave it like it is.
Where it's at, where it's at.
Everybody's happy.
No, not happy, but right now we ain't figured out what to do.
Well, I'll try to give you the schedule because like,
Maybe that would help if you just
Yeah,
go ahead and.
we just need to have a
generate
schedule
for me, just
that
to
we
keep
can
it
see when we're gonna get paid every
Using
month.
the existing system.
Yeah, before somebody else gets it.
All right.
Oh, that's good. At least in January.
Before we have a motion to continue the meeting to the 19th, is that right?
Yes.
At 5:30, is there any more pressing business before the board? Jesse, what you got?
Over by our house on Wire Street and 4th Street, between 7 o'clock, 7:30 and 8:30, it is a nightmare with traffic. And is there any way that, and I know I'm listening to tax, but that when they have to go over the lights there all the time, it backs that traffic all the way back up to the golf course. And this morning there was a wreck, last Friday, I believe, down by the Columbia. And then there was a wreck this morning, right in front of the Lutheran Church. Well, traffic was backed up. They had to come, they came down our road, then they turned around and had to go back up our road. The traffic, buses, it was a nightmare. And if there was just somebody there to keep that traffic moving and not pay attention to that light, or at least to make it all that traffic. What you shaking your head about?
I think what you'd have to do is return that light.
It's been retimed 4 or 5 times.
Does somebody from the PD, do they still go up there when school's let out of the day and in the morning?
Not at that place.
Whenever they let out the buses, they don't go.
Okay. So but nobody goes up there every morning?
Not up to the main intersection.
Okay.
Would we have the ability just to turn the lights off for an hour or so and just?
The state has to do that. We have no access to it.
When there was an accident, the fireman came up and directed the
Well,
traffic.
actually, the
and
road
it went
department, they had to
really
divert
well.
it.
It went in, it really went well, but now, that's all it is.
It's a tough, it is, you're right.
Just the bad
And
place,
it's only,
period. That's the way it's designed
I mean, if
over
it just
years.
had it more, now in the afternoon, they're down there at McCullen Drive to let the buses out. But then up at our place, that's where it's just a mess.
Used not be a problem when they had to walk to school from down by
They don't just,
Sam, is this an issue that we could expect that the police department could be proactive? It's a tough situation.
Well, it is. There's no real clear way of doing it.
Is it something that we could bring the Board of Education in on too?
you had somebody to direct the traffic. Is there?
But you got the traffic lights. You see,
You've got the seniors
But,
got their
well,
traffic
there's a traffic light
lights.
when there was the wreck.
well, yeah, but that's that was an emergency
But the
situation.
traffic was going into the high school.
Trying to help you, Sissy.
I know, but I'm just telling you the facts.
Could do much except for helping the request of the DOT to try to do something about it, because they don't have any more authority to do anything about it.
I mean, to me, the ideal thing would be to turn the traffic light off for an hour or whatever and have just manual traffic.
Maybe you'd have to put up stop signs and stuff again.
Yeah, you have every big dark one.
The problem comes in there that one officer could not control the route. I think there's too many routes in. One, it'd take 2 officers to run that. At one intersection, you have 4 or 5 entrances.
Stop signs there. And when they make Warren Street,
They made a 4-lane.
when they make Warren Street 4-lane, they take care of it.
Whoa!
Yeah, when they do, they take that 2-foot.
Motion to continue the meeting until the 19th at 5:30.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Good enough, folks. Good enough.
It's been defeated.